introduce myself, I'm Judie McFarland. I probably know more about Sun City Center because I've been there a long time, but I'm by far not an expert and things change from time to time. But I can usually answer your question or send you somewhere where you can get them answered. So, okay, you don't have a handout for this, but just some general information. Be aware that the contract is the full understanding of what's going to go on with your transaction. So make sure you include everything that is supposed to be included on that contract. And we'll get into that a little further, but there are some things that are unique to Sun City Center and Kings Point that need to be on your contract. And just so you know, there is a group called Arena, ARENA. They meet one Friday morning a month at one of the independent living places around Sun City Center. And it happens to be this Friday. The person who administrates it is Eric Heckman from Partners Funding. And the agents from Sun City Center go there and exchange information about their listings, and occasionally there'll be a speaker, maybe from the community association or from the Kings Point associations that comes and speaks. It's wise to maybe get on that list and try and go every once in a while just to see what's going on. Right now, they have not been doing this since COVID, but prior to that, and I think they'll start very soon, they usually go and tour 9 homes in Kings Point from various brokerages. So it's good to see what's there, what the prices are. Actually, I should do the same thing. It's good to see what's there from other brokerages. It's just good to do. Okay. Also, we have a Sun City Center ad fund. It's totally voluntary. We advertise monthly in the Kings Point Pointer. All of our office listings are in there with the agent's name that has become a member of the ad fund. It's $150 for a year. It's worthwhile to get your name in there if you're going to be primarily in Sun City Center. We also do an ad in the Observer, which is coming out on Thanksgiving. It kind of looks like this with your picture and your name and stuff in it. We try to do that twice a year if we can afford it. And just so people will recognize you when you're there. If you're, if some of you, your primary business is not in Sun City Center, you probably don't want to do that, but some of you are. I mean, people want to see who they're working with. Okay, there is approximately 114 associations in Kings Point and about the same in Sun City Center. The zip code 33573 also includes some properties that are on 19th Avenue, the Lennar homes, and all down 19th Avenue. Those, they say Sun City Center in their address, but they're not part of the active adult communities in Sun City Center. So it's just that's because they have that zip code, they're called Sun City Center. So don't get confused with your customers and think that they're going to get access to the community association, because they're not. Okay. Sun City Center has a $3,000 one-time fee, which is paid at closing, and it's used for upgrading the amenities in Sun City Center. It is not, and I repeat, it is not something that is charged in Kings Point. It's only for Sun City Center, and it's for only one-time fee, which is for new closings. And there is no CDDs in Sun City Center, the adult community, at all. Okay, things you might want to know. suncitycenter.org, which I have written down here. It includes the articles of incorporation for Sun City Center, though it is in one of your handouts there, by the way. It says be in the know. Okay. It includes the articles of incorporation, the list of board members, the club presidents, the history of Sun City Center, and the POA presidents and contact information. So quite often you'll need to know things about that particular community. Whether they allow pets, whether they allow you to have a truck in your driveway, all kinds of little things. It's good to contact them. In Sun City Center, there's condo associations, single-family residences, and just because it's an attached property, it is not a duplex. Okay, it's called a single-family attached. There is a $3,000 fee paid at closing for capital improvements, and it's a one-time fee. Some have quarterly fees for lawn maintenance, management fees, and association common areas. All of these fees should be on your HOA disclosure. Also too, if it happens to be a condo, you need a condo rider and a HOA disclosure. Okay, when selling in Sun City Center outside of Kings Point, there are things you need to know. Prior to writing an offer on the property, know the age restriction guidelines. Sun City Center is a 55. Yeah.
Where do you find the HOA disclosures at?
They're usually on MLS. I mean,
What if you're listing a property?
they're on DocuSign or however you get your.
I guess what I mean for each community association, whatever.
You fill that, your customer fills that out.
So the seller would fill it out.
Yes, the seller is responsible to fill it out. You cannot fill it out for them.
What if it's a case where the seller died?
Then you can probably have your customer draw a line through the page and say never lived in the property. Okay, and sign it. Okay, it's a 55 and older community and it's compliant with HUD guidelines. The HUD guidelines are that 80% of the homes need at least one resident that's over 55. They're on certain occasions, they let you be 50, you have to get approval by the association, but HUD guidelines also state that anybody under 18 cannot live there for more than 30 days per year. So you cannot have your grandchild come and live with you. Anyone of legal age can purchase a home in Sun City Center. They just can't live there. If an age waiver is approved by the association, you do that by contacting the association presidents. Then you need to send that to the Sun City Center Community Association for final approval. No one under age 18 may live in a home for more than 30 days per year. This is a HUD guideline and there's no exceptions. In Sun City Center, there are condos, and in that case, the homeowners association disclosure is needed, as well as the condo association disclosure. And you also need, in all condos in Florida, a condo governance document, which is a 5-page document that looks like this. And it is in DocuSign. And it talks about the rules for in condo associations for voting. The buyers should take their settlement statement to the Sun City Center Community Association with their government ID to have their photo taken and get their badge. The rules are, there is many rules. There is pet associations, there's non-pet associations. They allow 2 pets in most cases, and they all have to be on a leash. There is, in most cases, there's no fences. In some areas, invisible fences are allowed, some areas not. You really need to check all of that. The ladder streets is what they call the ladder streets. And if you look at the map in Sun City Center, there's a section of older homes that kind of looks like a ladder. And they call them the ladder streets. It's Riviera, I forget the other names. And those, you can have fences and things like that. They're older. And In most areas, improvements such as shrubs, roof, driveways must be approved by the association. RV parking in most areas is for 24 to 48 hours, only for loading and unloading. And no commercial vehicles can be parked overnight. Unless you put it in the garage, of course. It's in a few of the areas, even a small truck without a sign on it is not allowed to be parked overnight. And that's in, over off of New Bedford. So, there is no motor vehicle repairs, there's no boat repairs, lots and lots of rules. So you gotta pay attention to them. There is no antennas, satellite dishes, other than those designed for the TV, which are allowed by federal law. And those need to be placed in the rear of the property. No tenants for less than 30 days. Tile or metal roofs only within some associations. So you need to get approval for all of that. Some even have vehicle washing restrictions, which I think is bizarre, but they have that. There is also $125 annual fee for residents of Kings Point who might want to participate in some of the activities in Sun City Center. Why they would, I don't really know, because Kings Point has pretty much the same stuff. Okay, in Sun City Center at the front desk, there's a CD and a flash drive with floor plans of all of the properties that, I can't say all, 99% of the properties that are in Sun City Center. So if you're listing a property, you might want to go and download the whole flash drive or whatever to your computer, because it's good to place it in the house. The people might like it. Okay, Renaissance area. They verify the fees because they change continually. The fee is mandatory of $24.95 plus tax. That's for use of the Renaissance Club. It renews in November 1st, and it's annual, and it's for a social membership only. It's not for golf. There is also additional fees for here and there. Renaissance Club is owned by Club Link, and it's not owned by the Sun City Center community. So it's totally separate, and you need to deal with them. They have their own estoppel fees. They have their own, all kinds of little things to go on. The Renaissance maintenance is $325 per year, and there is a capital funding fee paid at closing. Toscana, which is the townhouses, there's a $500 capital fee at close. There's $166 for background check, as well as condo fees for them. Verona, which is the gated community in Sun City off of South Pebble Beach, there is a transfer fee for a buyer of $166 $150 and an application fee of $166. And the Toscana and Verona fees are in addition to the Renaissance fees. Documentation required. You need a homeowners association disclosure, which I think you all know by now if you've filled out or taken a class on filling out the forms where that is. If it's a condo in Sun City Center, not Kings Point, you need a homeowners association disclosure and a condo rider. Is there any questions about Sun City Center in particular? Okay, yeah.
How many golf courses are there in just Sun City that are actually open, just Calusa Trees?
There's the Renaissance.
Oh, Renaissance, yeah, but that's.
There's the
private, right?
Renaissance. Right now, but that's not for long. There's the Sandpiper, but that's supposedly going to be developed into housing. And then there's the one down in Eastview and Westview, which is what is the name of that? It isn't Calusa Trace. Yeah, it is Calusa. And that's a membership that's totally separate. It's not owned by Club Link. It's members own it, and you apply and join. But pretty much That's it.
Okay, and then in Kings Point, there are just one now, right?
There's 3 9-hole courses. They're all championship courses. They're not executive courses. Oh, also in Sun City, there's an executive course. That's part of Freedom Plaza.
Or in Kings Point, all three are open still?
Yes, they're open. There's no plans to close them.
Okay, it's so hard to like remember when the heck. they-
Yeah, there's 3. They're all part of the same clubhouse and whatever. But they're 3 9-hole courses.
And then the two in Sun City are both 18.
They're both 18. Yeah. Yep. And I don't know how much longer that the Sandpiper will be open,
Yeah, it sounds like it's.
but I don't know, there's an uprising going on over there, so who knows? Yeah. Okay, any more Sun City specific questions? Okay. Okay, Kings Point.
Can I go back?
Yeah, sure.
I've got a listing coming up on what's Sandpiper, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the seller has to put on the seller's property disclosure that golf course is closed and is currently going through like litigation or whatever for development? or
It
not
might be
yet?
wise. It might be wise. I don't think they probably have to because the zoning hasn't changed or anything.
Okay,
But it might be wise to just alert the buyer that someday they might not have a golf cart course in their backyard.
Right.
I think it's gonna be quite a while.
okay, good, thanks.
Okay. In Kings Point, there are 110 condo associations as well as 4 homeowners associations. The condos are just condos. They're not homeowners associations. Everyone calls them homeowners association, but they're just plain old condos. The 4 homeowners association are Yorkshire, Richmond, Somerset, and Nottingham. The difference, the condo units own a percentage of their land. And that is part of the association property. An example I use is my association where I live. It has 17 acres of land and 92 homes. So I own 1/92 of 17 acres of land, and that's how I'm taxed really. So, okay, you don't, for condos, you don't get a survey. The homeowners associations, you do get a survey. The homeowners associations, they must purchase their own insurance. The HO3 policy is for condos. HO6 is for single family homes. And there's one, which I'll get to in a minute, there's one exception. Spectrum is part of the condo fee and includes digital cable. There's like thousands of channels. You get 2 cable boxes per household, and the internet is 200 Mbps. You can order more cable boxes, you just pay for them.
Is that in Kings Point?
Yes, yes. Yes, you sign out the cable boxes from Spectrum, that's, and you're responsible for the cable boxes, but and you can add to them if you wish to. Okay. Nottingham is a homeowners association. It opted not to become part of the federation. So they're not part of the cable deal. You purchase your own cable through them. Your management company is not First Services that manage the whole rest of the communities. And they have contracted with Vesta to do their association management. They do hold reserves and get lawn maintenance and water. And if any of you have been in there lately, Nottingham has had some severe roof damage from the Hurricane Ivan. That is not paid for by their association. Okay, they maintain their own roofs. They do have reserves for replacing it, but they don't. They're responsible to maintain that themselves. Anything like that. The same with repairs and things on the outside. They hold reserves for the painting, but they don't. If you have some damage of some kind, you're responsible to take care of it yourself. Okay, and, they do get water, the sprinkler maintenance and the amenities. Okay, the homeowners association Yorkshire, that was built by WCI. It was an experiment that I guess they didn't like. They have different rules. They're single family homes and definitely single family homes. They don't maintain reserve funds. Unit owners are responsible for their own roofs and maintain their own roofs and their own paving and painting. They do get water, sprinkler maintenance and amenities. And they have their own homeowners association documents. They are managed by First Services like all the other communities in Kings Point. Okay, Quail Pass, how many of you have been in Kings Point? Okay, when you go in Kings Boulevard and you're going up Kings Boulevard, it's the 900 block of Kings Boulevard. They look like they're single family homes. They're not, they're condos. Okay, and it's called Quail Pass. And they're condos, meaning they have common land. They are responsible for maintaining their own insurance. They have to have HO3 insurance. That's the one, okay, I think you might have asked. They maintain their own roofs. But other than that, they are a condo and they do everything else like a condo. There's the units that back to the closed golf course may be allowed to have pools. There's enough land around them. However, the ones towards the front by the street, there's not enough land around them, so pools aren't an option. Okay, age restrictions. I'm gonna pass this around. This is on kpscc.com. And if you have somebody who's under 55, you maybe need to pay attention to that. It's under property management, kpscc.com, property management. And there are certain associations, most of the ones up front, who have changed their rules. And they don't comply with the HUD guidelines for the 80-20, that 100% of the residents have to have one person that's over 55. A few of them have seen the error of their ways and have changed their rules back, but they're all spelled out on there, but there's not that many. So, and those are more the affordable housing up front. It goes from all the Andovers up front up through the Lancasters that have that rule. I don't really know what they were thinking when they did it, but they did it. And it is, it's common on the units built before 1990 to allow 20, or after 1990 to allow 20%, like the HUD guideline says, and to have one that's 55. And I'm gonna give you a heads up. They don't have to allow the people that are under 55, even in the ones that aren't spelled out on there. I had a customer who was a 54-year-old disabled military veteran and applied to live in Acadia condo and was turned down. So, but then she just went to Portsmouth and was allowed. So you can't guarantee that they're going to vote in your direction. So don't get so in love with a property that, yeah.
So I ran into this last year.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of strange. So do you bring the people, the buyers back to start the process before they put the offer in? Or do you just use the as-is offer, and if they don't get approved, then you?
Right, you put it in the additional terms in the offer that they must be approved by the association for under 55. And just, you know, that's just a contingency of the offer. I don't know if Acadia would do that now, but because they have a whole different board, and I don't really know what they were thinking, but you know, most of the places will allow, if you're 50, Most of the places you have to apply, but most of the places will allow. And you get all of that information at kpscc.com. And property management is the key one. That's where you get the applications for the associations, you get the pet waivers. It tells you what communities are pet communities and what ones are not pet communities. All kinds of information like that. And a lot of agents will download some of this stuff to their computer, but it changes. So every year, per the law, the associations need to have an annual meeting. And at those annual meeting, they can change their rules. So a lot of them change their rules to maybe allow somebody under 55, or maybe allow the lanai to be made 8 feet instead of the standard 5 feet. They do all of that at the annual meeting. And so you need to pay attention when the rules change. So, okay, talk to the end. There is pet restrictions. There are a zillion of them. I mean, there's from no pets to any pet to 2 pets. And then when somebody dies, when one pet dies, you can't replace it. There's so many rules. I mean, if you're gonna have somebody who has a pet, you need to go and download that pet rules and pay attention to it. Cause there's, the only way you can get in there in a no pet area with a pet is to have the physician fill out a form that's on kpscc.com and saying that you need it for some medical reason. Whether, I had a customer who was hard of hearing and he had a dog and the dog could hear the doorbell. So the doctor filled out the form and he got to have the dog. So I can't say they can't turn you down, but it's part of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So they're taking a risk if they turn you down. Right. And so the Americans with Disabilities can sue you and whatever. So I live in an association that has, again, 92 homes. And we are a no pet association. At least 75% of the houses in my association have some kind of pet. So, and I don't know, whether they all filled out a form or not, I don't, nobody really cares. Okay. There's all kinds of rules regarding rentals, regarding pets. The rental rules on kpscc.com under property management. That's another one. They allow you there's some of the associations you can rent once per calendar year. Others you can rent 30 days. Some of the others you can rent 4 times a year. So if you have somebody who's gonna do rental, you really need to download that document and look at it. Some of them don't allow renters, some pet areas don't allow renters to have pets. So you need to pay attention, okay? And another thing is the 3-day rule. By law, condo documents are, in Kings Point, they're about this thick. And they have the budget, the financials, and all the rules. By law, the customer has 3 days to review those and withdraw from the contract. And it doesn't fit in with the inspection contingency or anything like that. If you wait and give them the condo docs the day before closing, they can walk. So pay attention, get them to them as soon as you can. And that's not just for Kings Point, that's also for the condos in Sun City. It's the condo laws in general. I want to pass this around to you. This is just an example of the budget for for Kings Point, where everything is divided out, what's included in your fee. And that is given to your customer with the condo docs. Okay, in 2007, after a long battle with WCI, who was the builder, the owners of Kings Point purchased the amenities in Sun City Center. That includes all of the clubhouses, all of the pools, the 2020 Center, which the 2020 Center is a fitness center and spa area. The smaller buildings that occupy first service, the pickleball courts, the tennis courts, all of that stuff. So that happened in 2007. There was a loan taken out, which has been rewritten a couple of times. It has a balloon at the end, but it all is paid for as part of that budget. So don't let some of the things that people say that don't live in Kings Point sway you. Okay, it is all covered as part of that that budget. What happened now in 2021, for each home purchased in Kings Point, there's $150 fee, which is similar to that $3,000 fee. It's $150 fee collected for capital improvements. It's normally paid by the seller, but can be negotiated on the contract. What seller is going to want to pay for upgrades to the amenities when they're leaving? So quite often, but normally it's paid for by the seller. So that's one of the things that you would negotiate on the contract.
So you said 150?
Yes.
Not 100,
Not 100.
correct? It's 150. Okay, perfect.
Yes, it's 150. Yeah, it did. Yeah, that was 100. Okay, there is also, when you make an application, all of the application paperwork is at kpscc.com under property management. And there is a form there that needs to be notarized that says you do or you don't have a pet. And it might have also some other stuff on it, like you're given one parking spot and the visitor's parking spot is not for you. Assorted things like that, and it needs to be notarized. And it go with the application. The application, there's a form, there's that thing that needs to be notarized. It's submitted with a check for, it could be $0, but could be $50, it could be $100. You need to look to see what, and if that application fee goes to the association, and they can do with it whatever they want. They can buy bushes, they can add it to their budget or whatever. And okay, the application fee, your ID that says that you're over 55, the sign thing and whatever. It needs to be to the management company at least 10 business days prior to closing. I don't know what they do if you don't, but they can refuse to let you access to the property. Once you close, you take your settlement statement to First Services. They do something with the form again, and it takes them about a week. And then you can go get your permanent badge with your picture on it. Make sure you look good. And you can also get your pass for your car. Also too, for realtors, if you have signs on your car, you can just drive through the regular parking spot, the regular drive-through thing. If you don't have signs on your car, you're supposed to go to the visitor spot, and they might ask you for your license or ask you where you're going or some stuff like that. But it's no problem with getting in as long as it's during the day. If it's later at night, they're a little shaky about letting people in. Within Kings Point, the amenities are the Palm Court Cafe and Restaurant that has a bar. It has light dining, casual style. It has indoor lounge and outdoor patio. There's happy hour from 4 to 8 every day. Cheap drinks, okay? It gets really crowded there between the cheap drink hours. Also, the portico the portico pickup, you can call them and you can order food and they bring it out underneath the portico there and you can pick it up. So if you don't wanna get out of your pajamas or whatever. The Loft Lounge, which is also in the South Club building, it's used for dining events, personal functions, things like that. The Perk Cafe is in the North Club and it's right now being refreshed, but should be done within a week or so. And they have breakfast items, lunch items, stuff like that. That's in the North Club. These are all things that are not available and really available in Sun City. So the amenities in Kings Point are far more abundant than in Sun City. The 2020 Center, it's a two-story building. It's across from the North Club that has a fitness center with trainers on staff. They're paid trainers and they're all included in your fee. There's an aerobic studio, yoga studio, Spa Serenity, which has massages, haircuts, nails, and things like that. That's all there in the 2020 Center. The South Club has an indoor and an outdoor pool and a hot tub outside. The North Club has an indoor and an outdoor pool and a hot tub inside. There's also another small pool. It's called the community pool. A lot of people call it the Nantucket pool, but it's on Nantucket Drive. And the people that live in Nantucket think they own it, but everybody in Kings Point owns it. And you can go there whenever you want. That one does not allow children. The outdoor pools allow children anytime. The indoor pools have rules for children. And there is a pool located in the Knowles area, which the Knowles people pay for that, and it's their own private pool. In 2017, the Master Association signed a 10-year lease for the closed golf courses of Falcon Watch and now the Cyber Cafe. The closed courses are used for biking, dog walking, all kinds of things like that. You're not supposed to drive your car, although somebody just drove their car the other day. I read that on Next Door Neighbor. And they get plenty of use. And they are mowed. The grass is not maintained like golf course grass, but they do mow it. There is a dog park, and the dog park is a private club. It's up towards the front of the community, and there's a membership fee. I don't have a dog, so I don't really know too much about it, but I know that it's a club. The pickleball courts, tennis courts, lawn bowling, and there's well over 100 other clubs and activities. There's a whole book of things and people you call, whatever you want to do, it's pretty much there to do. The community sponsors bus trips. They just got back from the Biltmore, and so they sponsor all of that stuff. It's at a cost. There's also a tram service, which is free. You can call it. It comes and picks you up at your house. And then it takes you to either the North Club or the South Club, where you can go and pool or whatever you want to do. But if it takes you to the North Club, from there, they have another tram that will take you to grocery shopping and on a schedule. And it picks you up and brings you back. So you can actually live there with no car if you want to. Fees that are expected at closing on the HUD, expect about $165 fee paid to First Services for them doing their paperwork. $175 estoppel, and that's usually paid by the seller. $150 fee paid to the Federation of Kings Point for capital improvements, and I mentioned that earlier. It's paid at closing. This is similar to the $3,000 fee at Sun City. And check kpscc.com for the exact amount for each association to do your application. Some of them are 0, some of them are 50, and some of them are 100. And that's all due 10 days at least before closing. Rentals. Each association has their own rules regarding rentals. Go to kpscc.com and property management, and there's a list of rental rules. They range from not allowing rentals for the first 18 months to 1 per calendar year to 1 per 30 days. It's very unique. There is a $150 lease fee for the capital improvement. And there's also a $25 or a $50 fee paid to the association for the association to do whatever they want to do. If you're selling to a client who is considering rental, please pay attention to this. And again, another agent had a customer who was looking to do rental and or buy a property to do rental, and then they didn't pay attention to the rules, and they made an offer on one of my listings that they withdrew as part of that 3-day thing because they wanted to do rental, and there was only rentals allowed once per year. So it's important that you pay attention to some of those things. Okay, the application. First services requires a minimum of 10 business days. I've said that over and over again for all of these things. That the documents you should include, I mentioned that before, your government ID, the appropriate fees, the notarized pet form, and that has the specifics on parking, et cetera. You go to kpscc.com, property management, and the documents are there. For purchasers after closing, the buyer should go to First Services. I said this before too, with your settlement statement. They'll get a temporary pass. And within about a week, even a couple of days maybe, they'll get access to their regular pass. And you need to show it like when you go to the pool. You need to, probably the gym. If you're gonna go buy tickets for something, you'll need to show that, that pass when you go. The condo governance form, I passed that around. It's a Florida form. It's not Kings Point or Sun City particular. It's for every condo you sell in Florida, and you need to provide that to the buyer. So keep that in mind. Kings Point currently has 3 governing bodies. The individual association, which manages the day-to-day activities. The federation, which manages all the large contracts like the cable TV, the lawn maintenance contracts. The master association, which they're responsible for the roads, the waterways, the sewers, the water pipes, that sort of thing. So that's how it's all divvied out. There is some litigation going on that the Master Association is suing First Services to, how do I describe this? They used to, the Federation and the Master Association used to have the same management company, which was First Services. The Master Association decided that they were going to get their own different management company. It's called Vesta. And First Services seems to be not wanting to give all the documentation paperwork to Vesta about the Master Association stuff. So they're suing each other about that. I'm sure that it's like 2 children fighting over their toys, but they probably have all the documents mixed together. And that's why they don't want to give them, because it would take like a year and a half to separate them. But there's litigation. The litigation that needs to be disclosed to all buyers in Kings Point. There's another litigation going on too, but which I'll talk in a minute. Okay. I talked about the visitors gate. There is no signage allowed at all. Okay, none. Not in the windows, not anywhere. No signs. And there's no open houses allowed. There's some little ways to get around some of it, but it's not pretty. And so there is no open houses allowed. Lenders, none of the big banks will lend in Kings Point. We've had Bank of America walk from the closing table. The reason for it is that they are, I don't know where the document is that's went around that, oh, it's sitting with Brando. It talks about, reserves being held. And the reserves being held that show up on there are only the reserves for the condo association itself, when in fact the master association and the federation hold reserves. And but they don't show up on there, so the big banks don't seem to be able to figure out how to separate those little tidbits out. So you need to go to a bank that is familiar with Kings Point idiosyncrasies. Partners Funding is one, Trustco is one, Van Dyke is one, there's several others, but those are the ones that are very familiar with being able to make it happen. Kings Point condos in general are not qualified for VA or FHA lending, and it's because it's gated and it wasn't done up at the beginning. There are some that do qualify for VA. It's because they went through the whole process of getting it qualified themselves. And this actually has the Sun City and and those could change from time to time. So your lender should be able to go to the VA site and pick them out. Okay, the KPW, that's Kings Point warranty. It's only available in Kings Point. They have several different levels: platinum, gold, silver, and basic. The basic covers your AC 100% repair and replacement. It's a great deal. And it also the basic covers, like if you need a repair done to your stove or your refrigerator, the appliances, some appliances. And if it's not so old that they can't get parts, they will repair it and it doesn't cost anything. There's an annual fee. It renews in February each year. There is some strife going on in Kings Point about it right now, because but it should be ironed out in the near future. The people who Quality Complete is who provides the service, and they're a little bothered by the people who work in the office, so they're doing something about it. It's okay. I mean, the platinum coverage, it also includes some plumbing work. Some of the other coverages include replacement of your water heater and some things like that. So that it's really not a bad deal. Golf carts and the golf cart rules. There are rules regarding golf carts. Kings Point roads are private. So if your golf cart has lights on it, you can drive it 24 hours a day if you want to. Unlike Sun City, where the golf carts need to be tucked in bed by dark and not come out until light. But because the roads are private in Kings Point, that doesn't apply. There is in Sun City, in a box underneath the front desk, there's a box of golf cart rules if people might come in and ask for them. The boxes, I got them from Sheriff Marion. They're there. I don't know how many are gone. But anyway, that's the golf carts. I mean, the golf carts are a form of transportation. You can go pretty much anywhere in your golf cart. If you need to go to the doctor or hairdresser or whatever, you can go in your golf cart. It's pretty cool. I've had several customers that don't have cars that they just drive around in the golf cart. And if they need to leave Sun City area, they'll get a ride. The Samaritans provide rides, and both in Sun City and in Kings Point, if you need to leave the community and don't want to drive. Okay, is there any questions about, I'm sure there's tons of questions, but any questions that you have that I didn't cover?
think that KPW is really worth it. Had two people that just had such a bad experience. One was a microwave, and the other was a hot water heater, and
But
they
if you,
both had the platinum or, the high-end one, and KPW wouldn't take the, you know how the water heater's under the stove? They wouldn't take the board off.
yeah, they wouldn't take the board, it's, oh, yeah,
Right, and then the microwave was more to repair it than it was
To
buy a
replace it,
new one.
right,
And
right.
they told the homeowner that they would not replace it.
Right, and that happens quite often. I haven't, I think they're great.
Do
I
you
mean-
use, have you used it?
I've used it on many occasions. They've replaced my air conditioning. They were out of, a few years ago, they were out of sync and they replaced both the inside and the outside. They came and spent hours and hours on my dishwasher. That it wasn't washing, and they found that there was an insect on the printed circuit board. Okay, and they took it off and it works fine. So, yeah, yes, in some of those older homes, the water heater is under the kitchen counter. And it's, yeah, by the stove, and it's really hard for them to get to. So yes, there's some issues with that. I don't, know too much about it, but I don't live in that kind of house, so. Yeah, and I don't have the basic, I have the silver, and it doesn't cover the water heater, so. And I just replaced my own water heater. But I've had nothing but good, and I own 3 rental properties. The tenants call them, they come out and they fix it, but all of my appliances are all relatively new. So we don't have any problem with them. But they are having some issues right now. The other litigation thing that's going on in Kings Point is a couple of years back, the board members, it is required by the bylaws that any changes to the loan be voted on by the membership. And the board members did not do that. And so the board members themselves are being sued by Kings Point. And I don't think they have E&O insurance, so the worst case, the E&O insurance will pay for it. I don't think it's, any sort of big deal. It describes it in completeness under kpscc.com, under, I think it's Federation. And if you have a customer who, because it has to be disclosed. And if you have a customer who's concerned about reading it, they can go read it there, just send them there rather than interpret it. Okay, there is another, there is another place you can go. It's called kingspointsuncoast.com, and it has some decent advertising material. I'm just gonna hold it up. It has some decent stuff on it for, but the problem with it is they also have for sale by owners and for rent by owners on there. So I just go and plagiarize. I don't send people to that site. I just go and take the information and create something myself. I have a list that I give to my customers that compares that. I usually put it in my listings. It compares what the costs are in Kings Point as opposed to the costs somewhere else, anywhere USA. It's even though the condo fees are ranging between $500 and $600, when you figure out that your water is included and your cable TV is included, and it's well worth it. And it's your roof reserves and all of that stuff are included. It's definitely worth the $600. But you go there and look around. It's called kingspointsuncoast.com, and go there and look around and plagiarize all you want. Okay, is there any other question? Oh, the Kings Point ad fund. we advertise, we advertise monthly in the Pointer, which is the Kings Point newspaper. It's on the back page of the Pointer. Denise has a picture of what I put in there. It advertises your listings because you can't have signs. So it's actually kind of in place of signs for your listings. It lists off all the agents who paid into the ad fund, which is not everybody. It's totally voluntary. We also do an ad in the Observer a couple of times a year that has like your pictures on it and stuff like that. So, you know, get your name out there. So, but it's totally voluntary and you can do it if you want and not do it if you don't want. And it used to be $100, but we had to increase it to 150 because inflation has got us.
When does that run?
It run,
Year to year?
yeah, January 1st to, yeah, December 31st, so it's coming up. I've already bought a check from somebody, so, but yeah. And if we don't get enough people signed up, to cover all those things, then, we're paid on the Pointer through November, next November. But we'll see, you know, what people want to do. We all voted to do it when we first opened, and there is times when we've had 40 people signed up, and now we have 22. So, it depends on what you want to do. So, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm out of here. Okay.